Recording.
Week 5, we are going to be simplifying radicals. So the reason we simplify radicals is because we want it to be an exact number. If you take the square root of 2, it's 1.71, and it goes on for a long time. I can say the square root of 2, and it's much more accurate. So what we're going to do is we're going to look for perfect squares in these radicals, pull out the perfect square, and then leave everything else. For example, the perfect square, 25 is a perfect square. The square root of 25 is 5. The square root of 16 is 4. Remember, square roots are, we're looking for the number multiplied by itself that makes up that number. So what we're going to do is, because we're looking for the perfect squares that fit in, that go into this number, and we are looking for the highest perfect square, you have to take out all of the perfect squares. The way that the easiest way to do it, to make sure that you always get the highest perfect square, is to start by dividing that number by 2. Once you divide that number by 2, then you're going to look for any of the perfect squares below that number. So we're going to look at number 12. And the reason we're looking at number 12 is it gives us some information that we need. It looks a little different than 7 through 10 because it has a number out in front, but we still work the same way. So the first thing you have to do is you have to take your number and divide it by 12, or divide it by 2. So 150 divided by 2 is 75. What that means is we are going to look for the perfect square below 75. We're starting with the perfect square that's just below 75, or 8 squared is 64. So we're starting there, and we're going to see if that perfect square can be divided into 150 evenly. It cannot. So then you're going to work your way down. That means that you won't accidentally miss a perfect square. So then we're looking at 7 squared is 49. 49 does not divide evenly into 150. 6 squared is 36. 36 does not divide evenly into 150. 5 squared is 25. 25 does divide evenly into 150. So what you're going to do, I just realized that it's extremely bright. It's a bright sunny day today in summer. There, a little bit darker. There, works a little bit better, thanks. So what we're going to do is we're going to divide 150 by 25. When we do that, we end up with 6. So we're going to rewrite this as 6 because of that 6. And then we're going to say the square root of 25 times the square root of 6. Now, notice 25 times 6 is 150. So all we've done is we've broken 150 up into 2 numbers, a perfect square and a not perfect square. That's it. Then, once you've done that, hopefully you know that the square root of 25 is 5. So that means we've got this 6 times 5, square root of 6. So we can't take the square root of 6. It is not a perfect square. The square root of 25 is a perfect square. It's 5. And so we have our initial 6 times the perfect square times 6. So our answer ends up being 30 square root of 6. So the key to this is to find the perfect square, break it up so that it looks like this, whatever number, and then take that perfect square. We're also going to look at number 9 just so that we can see what would be happening. We're going to look at number 9. First, I have to find the perfect squares. So I'm going to do 160 divided by 2 is 80. I'm going to look for the perfect squares that are below 80. That, again, are these numbers over here. I cannot divide 160, cannot be divided by 64. It cannot be divided evenly by 49. It cannot evenly be divided by 36. It cannot evenly be divided by 25. 4 squared is 16. It can be evenly divided by 16. So I can write 160 as the square root of 16 times the square root of 10. I can take the square root of 16. It is 4. And then I cannot take the square root of 10. And so it's 10. And the reason I don't have to figure out if I can find another perfect square in that 10 is because I started as high as I needed to. I started at half of my number and then worked my way down.